Harry Potter is the devil. He's in legion with Satan. Did you know that? It's true. By letting your children read such trash, you are opening up a portal between the legions of the underworld and your child. I'm John Spade. This is The Egg for October 25th, 2010. And there you have it. Harry Potter, witchcraft, Satan, the dark side, Lucifer, Beelzebub. It's all playing into this whole realm of protect your children because they are really open to ideas of the dark side. And they can be easily swayed. Before you know it, you'll lose them. And they'll be marching hand in hand in legion with the devil, ready to take over the world and plunge us all into darkness for eternity. J.K. Rowling, when she started the series Harry Potter, I've seen documentaries on this lady, interviews, sort of her perspective on the books and how they came about, and it's remarkable when you hear leaders in certain religious circles who come out against the book and suggest that she is trying to teach witchcraft to a whole generation of people around the world, which is going to pull them away from, religion and God. And today, what got me thinking about this was a theologian, how he comes about to be, an expert on it. I guess what happened was he heard, people in circles, in Christian circles, talking about the books and how they should be burned. And I mean, there's groups down in the States that actually have had book burnings. And so he decided that he would delve into the books and see what they were all about. And what he came about, the conclusion that he drew when he came out on the other side was that his feeling is that Harry Potter is actually a Christian and has all the Christian values. And, it's another example of where Christianity is trying to take something that really doesn't fit into their mold of what's perfect, and they're trying to adapt. And, I guess in some ways religion has had to adapt over the centuries in order to keep the congregations going. Maybe this is just another example, or maybe they actually really believe that, hey, if you look at the virtues of a good practicing witch, and it's pretty in line with what most Christian teaching is all about. And it's being a better person, it's having good moral guidelines, it's doing good things for your neighbor, and these are all things, of course, that you see come out in a book like Harry Potter. Now, of course, J.K. Rowling has a religious upbringing as a child through, I believe, the Catholic Church. So, of course, there's probably some influence from that childhood that has gone into this book about, the whole good versus evil, the darkness, and how much of it is just folklore that we've created over thousands of centuries. And it continues to give us moral reference, no matter what the times are. I think the one thing I love about the Harry Potter series is if you read it, there is a definite line between good and bad, and how we have the choice to, decide which way we're going to go. And I would guess that probably the majority of people that read Harry Potter, side with Harry, and very few are, siding with Voldemort and the Dark Crew, right? But does it really influence culture and the way we behave? Segue. So I got to thinking about Halloween and how here's a holiday that absolutely drives me nutso now. And it's the same bone of contention I have with Christmas. And, they've basically taken what's my favorite holiday of the year. Should be a holiday. We should get the day off for Halloween. Because it's a great, I don't know, I love the idea behind the celebration of Halloween. What I don't appreciate is you go to the stores now and they've made it cute. You know, Halloween is a celebration of the spirits that have passed on into the other world. There should be a darker edge to it. I think it helps people to appreciate and respect life and death, but you know, they've taken it and they've Christmasized it. For lack of a better word, you go in and I mean, half of the crap that they're pushing at, I mean, it's so commercialized. I was in Walmart like 3 months ago and I'm sure they had Halloween everywhere, literally took up a quarter of the store, and all a bunch of shit that really nobody needs, but it's, you know, you're obligated to participate. And so now, like as in Christmas where, you know, there's lights all over the house and you've got your ornaments out front, well, Halloween's sort of taken that same turn, and now it's just, I mean, it's garish in a bad way. And Halloween is one of those things where I like the dark side. Inside us, we have a good and a bad side. We all have it. I think to dismiss the fact that you have a bad side, you're in denial, because we all have that little darkness in us. And, you know, maybe Halloween gives us a chance to sort of express that, and it's like it's being taken away. And are we all at risk of becoming crazy because we can't balance the two? I don't know. You know, and me, I look at the world a little differently than some, and, you know, some people get where I'm coming from. I kind of like the darker side of life for reasons that there's an honesty to it. And it doesn't necessarily mean people that celebrate the darker side of life are bad people. It's just we see the world in a more honest and black and white way. The Addams Family is something I love to use as an example of how I feel about life. For me, when I first saw that movie, I was like, wow, this is the idyllic lifestyle. I want to be Wednesday and Friday, or whatever the kids' names were. That, to me, is a fun way to grow up. I mean, and, you know, it's, yeah, it's a little out there. It's a little crazy. I know, but it goes to the point where we don't deal with pain and suffering. We have a tendency to mask it. I think Halloween was one of those, you know, times of the year where we actually embraced, hey, guess what? There's a turn in life, and, you know, we pass on, we move on. There's death, and death is a part of reality. But now Halloween has been taken and commercialized to such a point that we're getting away from the message, which is, hey, you know what? Life isn't always Christmas, and it isn't. But I think the more that we're in denial about stuff like this, the further away we get from living life the way we should. Just some ideas going through my head. Don't want to be too crazy or off the wall today. Something else I wanted to talk about. I'm not going to go on for too much longer. Where am I at? 8:35. Proportional representation. This is something I'm going to cover in another egg in full. I just sort of want to, it's a teaser, I guess. Thinking about it in the changing face of politics now, and how we're going to be able to use social media, I believe, to sort of dictate future governments, is now a good time to really consider ideas of proportional representation. Now, if you don't know much about it, I ask that you take a few moments, Google it, and see what it's all about. Basically, what it comes down to, and I'll use our Canadian government as an example. We have a Green Party, which has really come a long way in the last 10 years. In the last federal election, the Green Party was able to garner 1 million votes across this country. Now, we are a country of 35 million, so it's a small number, but it's also a significant number. The issue I have, and you know, if we had proportional representation, we would have a segment, like that 1 million people would have a voice in our government. But because of the way the system works, the Green Party didn't win any seats and has no involvement in the political process in our country. And I think that's wrong, because if there's 1 million people in this country that believe in this party and the ideas that they're putting forth, then they should have some representation in government. There's downsides to proportional representation, obviously, but I think there's a big upside. And as part of the democratic process, it's something we should really be looking at. Anyway, something to think about. That's my egg for today. Thanks for tuning in. Bye-bye.